Joining me in the studio is our terrorism expert, Wassim Nasr, to tell us a bit more. And Wassim, tell us what's happening right now in Mali and just how serious do you think it is?
Well, actually, we are seeing Al-Qaeda jihadis positioning themselves and acting and attacking the police or even officials, Malian officials around the capital Bamako. And we have a map where we can see the latest attack in January and the most significant attacks that occurred a few months back. We see that towards the west, Yelimani was a kind of a first. We see that at Kalumba, they attacked the army back in July, and the latest attack this year were in Diedeni and in Kassela, without forgetting the attack of Kati, which is the heart of the power today in Bamako, and the kidnapping of a German priest in the heart of Bamako also a few weeks back.
Now, Russian mercenaries from the Wagner group that we've been talking about in relation to the war in Ukraine operate in Mali, don't they? They partly filled the vacuum left by France when it pulled out. So why are those Wagner fighters not able to push back the jihadists?
Well, actually, when they entered Mali, they pushed France out. So they had a political effect on the ground. And I got to write a long piece to a CTC West Point where I detailed their path since a year that you can find on the CTC West Point site. And we have a map maybe also that we can shows us the areas of operation of Wagner. So as you see, their operations are especially in central Mali and in parts of the northeast. What is the dots, the fire dots, are the intra-jihadi fightings. So they are operating, but they are not being able to counter the jihadis efficiently. And we see that jihadis are roaming freely without any fear of airstrikes or special forces attacking them. And without forgetting that Wagner operatives committed many human rights abuses, which fueled actually jihadi recruitment. We see that the Islamic State is committing atrocities against civilians and attacking at the doors of the towns like Gao and Menaka, and Al-Qaeda is acting in areas where it wasn't really present before in order to counter the Islamic State. So military gains for the Islamic State, political gains for Al-Qaeda, and we can see maybe footage of the latest vowing allegiance of the latest caliph of the Islamic State, where we see a huge gathering, here it is, of Islamic State fighters. I'm not saying that they didn't used to gather like this before to commit attacks. They used to do, even with French presence, but they weren't able to have this kind of numbers and to stay as long as they did in areas where they attack.
Well, you mentioned French operations. Officially, the French campaign in Mali has come to an end, but it is still playing a role in the region, isn't it? What does that look like?
Well, it officially ended in Mali, and we are in a new paradigm, in a new way of doing things. And the most significant example is the way France is acting in Niger. And we have a map where we can see French forces where they have bases in Niger. But what we should know, we are seeing here French flags, but we should know that in Niger, French forces are always in Nigerian barracks. They don't have the right to raise their flags, and they operate always at the initiative of the local forces. And we have footage also of an operation that occurred in Inkarafan, where Islamic State the commander was killed based on French intelligence, but with the help or with the initiative of Nigerian forces on the ground, helped by the French. So this is how things are going to be organized today, either in Niger or maybe in Burkina Faso and other countries in the region.
As always, thanks very much indeed for your explanation, Wassim Nasr, for us there.